So welcome to Everyday. I'm Anne-Marie Miller. The 7th of April already, and it was on this day back in 1856 that Nelson opened the very first state secondary school with a grand roll of just 8 boys. Went on to become one of New Zealand's biggest state secondary schools. Speaking of schoolboys, my first 2 guests are just that. They're 12 years old and they're New Zealand's youngest radio broadcasters. We talked to Israel Bai and Sam Tucker from Community Radio about their passions. We also catch up with Mac Lynn, who's the drummer for Braxton Hicks, a band doing big things in the music industry. And George McQuillan and Carl Johnson join me from the Hamilton Volunteer Fire Brigade. And of course, someone on today's show is going to take away the Pippins Community Recognition Award, a chance for us to say thank you to people who do good things in our community. First up, 2 12-year-olds are making their mark on the radio industry. They are 2 of New Zealand's youngest broadcasters. Sam Tucker and Israel Bai join me now. Welcome to Everyday, boys. It's great to see you.
Thanks.
Now, you both work on community radio in Hamilton.
That's right.
Sam, how does it feel doing a job that's mainly performed by adults?
Well, it's really great to be able to have a way to express my views and educate the public about animal rights and vegetarianism, especially at this age. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you've got to be quite confident to do that, I suppose, Israel, don't you?
Yes. You've got to be very confident because if you muck up, if it's a live show, there's no going back. So you got to have your you can't be nervous.
No, you've got to be prepared, I suppose, too.
You do.
Tell me about your show, Food for Thought, Sam.
Food for Thought is a show about vegetarianism and animal rights. On the show, I read out vegetarian recipes, discuss animal rights issues, and play music by famous vegetarians like Green Day and Good Charlotte. And I'm really lucky that Food for Thought is sponsored by an awesome tofu company called Bean Supreme. Yeah.
Are you a vegetarian?
I've been vegetarian for 8 months now.
Mm-hmm.
I first started thinking about food choices when I read a book by Robert Muchmore called Man vs. Beast.
Mm-hmm. And what triggered that vegetarianism? You just decided it was a choice you just wanted to make at the time?
Well, after I'd read Man vs. Beast, it had this section on factory farming of chickens. So then I stopped eating chickens because I didn't want to support those practices. Then I did a bit more research and found out about intensive pig farming and found out how cruel that was, so I stopped eating pork. And I was thinking a lot about food choices, and then I decided to give up meat.
I don't think you should do any more research. You might have nothing left to eat. Israel, 12 is a young age to have an after-school volunteer job. You're not getting paid for it.
No.
What do you love about the radio industry?
It's music. I have loved music ever since I can remember. I've loved music before I even knew what radio was. My mum actually told me this very funny story. When she was pushing me around in my pram in the mall, I was jiggling up and down in my pram. She couldn't figure out why until one day she finally realised that I was actually dancing to the music in my pram. So music is a major thing in my life. Also, my uncle, Stu Tolan, he does the drive show on ZM. He's a major influence to me and really got me interested in the radio. And yeah, he's been a very big role model to me.
Nice to work with your uncle. He is a very good role model.
He is.
That's awesome. You're obviously very passionate about your vegetarianism, and you also use your show as a way of helping kids whose maybe their friends are vegetarian and they don't understand why.
Yeah, basically I want to inform the public about animal rights issues because you can't do anything about issues if you don't know the issues. So basically the main thing is just to keep kids informed.
How do you find out what bands are vegetarian and not? Like Good Charlotte, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a couple of sources. There's one website that's really great, www.happycow.com, and yeah.
I guess they are happy if they're not being eaten.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you do a lot of research on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Israel, your show's called Spotlight. Tell me about it.
Well, you've got a stage, you've got your band, production, whatever, and you've got your spotlight. So it pretty much explains itself from there. My show is all about performing arts, so it sort of means shining the spotlight on performing art things that are happening, bands in Hamilton, productions, school productions and all that. So I have interviews, I interview bands, and I interview cast from productions and all that. So yeah, I'm shining the spotlight on what's happening around Hamilton.
Where do you get your contacts for interviewing bands?
Well, normally I go to a lot of gigs and all that, and once they've gone off stage, I normally try to get to them and get their number off them, get their email address. Also, I know a lot of people, Stan Tremworth from Radiator, he's my drum teacher.
Well, that's handy.
Yes, I've interviewed him about his band, and I normally do a lot of stuff around schools. So yeah, I try to email them, search on the internet.
Brilliant. You need to start writing a piece maybe for the Waikato Times or something.
Maybe.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
It would be cool.
And you'll have to talk to Mac from Braxton Hicks as well. He's up next.
Actually, I've got his number from backstage.
Oh, well done.
Yay.
On to it.
Oh yeah.
Do you see your radio in future? In your future, do you see radio?
At this stage, I'm not really sure what I want to do in the future, but whatever I do, I want to keep informing the public about animal rights and other issues. And radio is a really great way to do that, especially access radio stations like Community Radio Hamilton.
Well done, and I bet you see radio in your future, or something to do with music.
Oh yes. I love radio, and I'm hopefully going to stick with it.
Brilliant. Well, best of luck, boys. You're just two awesome boys. I think it's just fantastic.
Thanks.
Now, if you'd like to tune into these shows, do it, because I think it's going to be quite interesting. First of all, of course, Food for Thought. That's on Wednesday at 4:30. Spotlight is on Tuesday at 4 p.m. And to tune into community radio, there's a couple of ways, AM or FM. It's 1206 AM or 106.7 FM. Check out the website too, communityradio.co.nz.